Hey you guys, this is Tyree. Welcome back to the channel, and today's topic was a hot topic that I wanted to get into, which I seem to be so familiar with when it comes to not only my own personal journey and my own personal stand for my marriage and the restoration that me and my wife Tiffany went through, but also what other spouses seem to be going through as of right now, which is interesting because it all has certain situations and angles that it plays into as to why it happens. And so the topic for today is this: a standing spouse still sleeping with your prodigal spouse. Wow. So let's get into this thing, and hopefully I shouldn't take up too much of your time. Sleeping with your prodigal spouse, I can see how it is something that people do. I can understand when people say, I still sleep with my ex-husband, or I still sleep with my ex-wife. Okay, cool. Or they say, well, we got a divorce that's pending and we still sleep together. All right, great. My only issue with it, my only issue that you guys will hear me talk about is this: are they sleeping with anyone else? Do you know this? If you know this and you're still sleeping with your prodigal spouse, I would advise that you tread carefully. Nobody has sex wilder and more often than somebody who believes they're single, who is single and ready to mingle. They're willing and ready to do all kinds of things they thought or they think they've missed out on. Now, I'm not talking about sexual acts and stuff like that, because with your spouse, you'll probably have more sexual acts with your spouse than you will with a single person. Why? Because you've grown accustomed to how that person responds, how your husband or wife responds. You know what they like. You know that you can play as long as you want, as long as you do the things that finish the job. Once you've understood that, you can have at it in the bedroom, because both parties are going to come out there satisfied. Maybe not smiling, but satisfied. When it's time to sleep with somebody else, you will throw the kitchen sink at them. You'll throw everything in the kitchen sink at that person. And let's not pretend you won't. Men get with a chick, they're guaranteed it's going to be a lot of different positions that's going to be tried. A lot of different angles is going to be tried in such a short amount of time. Because one, they haven't been there in a while. Two, it's new. That sex with that person, with this new person, it's new. So it's like riding a new car. You're going to rock it out for as long as you can because you're happy you're driving something new. Maybe in about a year or two, it won't feel as new. So you'll tone down, obviously. That's a human thing. But when you got some new, you yourself are going to start acting brand new. But I ask you to tread carefully, because when your spouse has started to introduce other people into their life, their sexual life, obviously they're at risk for disease. They're at risk for whatever drama that single person has going on. Their living situation, maybe it's not safe where that other woman or other man where they live. You know, it's not safe. So they got to go somewhere else. They have to go to a hotel. They have to go to a friend's house. They got to go to a park. They got to go to a car. They got to go some public place, some secluded alley or something like that. If your prodigal spouse is willing to put themselves out there on that level and you're still having a sexual relationship with them, I would advise you to tread carefully. Disease, STDs, let's just say it, physical danger, even death, are all new possibilities when your prodigal spouse decides to carry on a sexual relationship with you and someone else. Now, I know in the Bible it says it's not good for a wife. I don't mean just a woman, for a wife to keep herself from her husband. Just as well as it's not good for a husband to keep himself and his body away from his wife. And especially in a sense that it's a form of punishment. You are to give yourself to your spouse. You are. So to be separated, but still have sexual intercourse with one another, I'm not against that. I'm not against it. Hell, I did it. I'm not against it because I did it. Did I feel good doing it? I wasn't necessarily concerned with if I felt good doing it or not. It's my wife, Tiffany. So, and we weren't always married, when we were doing those things. So that wasn't something I was thinking about. That wasn't a thing that I was worried about. So, and at the time I knew she wasn't dating anybody, or seeing someone on that level during our separation. So I felt that it was okay. And maybe you do too. But then there came a time where I wasn't too sure. And I believe she felt the same way, where she wasn't too sure if I was seeing anybody else on that level. And we did not have sex with each other. We didn't have it. Because we had to be careful. We don't know what other people, you don't know who that other person, other woman, other man might be sleeping with on the side, or what kind of dramas they got going on. Perhaps they're married themselves, and then they're sleeping with their husband or wife, and then trying to sleep with your husband or wife. And then they bring that back home to you. The web, the sexual encounter web is getting too big. It's getting too big. Tread carefully if you are still sleeping with your prodigal spouse. Another thing I want to leave you guys with is I guess this is more so for the guys than it is for the women. Like I said, I talk about the men and the women, but seeing as though I am a male, I can speak a little bit more confidently on the male side of things. Guys, and girls, listen up. If you are having sex, just because you're having sex does not mean that things are good between you two. You're just completing a natural human desire and function that you and your spouse have. But it does not mean that things are all good. This is what happens with men and women who believe that they're in a relationship, things broke down, they separated, or they got divorced, they get back together, they're reconciled, they're restored, they're doing things, and then boom, it happens again. You're not together anymore, but you had all this great sex, and you had all this great relationship, and you've had all this great connection with one another. Sexual connection is not the same. It's not the same thing as a spiritual connection and a mental connection with the person you share your life with. Sexual connection is another piece of the puzzle, of the complete puzzle. It's a piece. And if you're only leaning on that one piece to complete the puzzle, eventually you'll have to look at the puzzle and understand that nothing's being put together, because you're only looking and viewing and concentrating on one part. And if things get bad, you and your spouse will find ways to compensate things or to complement that one piece of the puzzle. And what you'll do is, this leads to porn. This will lead to the idolization of the opposite sex outside of your marriage. You can pick up different addictions like drinking, smoking, drugs, hallucinogens, opioids, whatever the case may be. You're willing to do everything to complement that one piece of the puzzle to give yourself the illusion that you have the whole puzzle completed. And one day, reality will smack you in the face and let you know that this puzzle, let's say it's a 100-piece puzzle, that this 100-piece puzzle is missing the other 99 pieces. And you've been trying to live off of one puzzle piece. That is what the sexual encounter with your prodigal spouse can be like if you don't tread carefully. Now, I can't give you just one bit of sound advice and let that be the answer to everything, because everybody's situation is different. What I want you to do is stop, and talk to God about this. If you're in a sexual relationship with your prodigal spouse and things feel like they've always felt, maybe this is just a time that you guys are going through a separation, I believe that it's okay to have a sexual relationship with your prodigal spouse. I even encourage it because it's only one part of the puzzle. Sometimes that's the one thing that kind of brings them back to the yard, because the sex is good. It may not keep them, but it'll bring them back. It's like in business. Businesses understand that they can throw commercials in your face and videos on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. But if they don't get you on the phone, or they can't get you to open up their emails, that true connection or business, B2C, business to customer relationship, it isn't there. And it ultimately will hurt their bottom line. So just like a business, a marriage will benefit from and can benefit from this sexual connection. But if that's all, and if that's all, there's no offer, there's no plan, there's no benefit besides that, then you're looking at you're going to be looking at what could possibly be a false start, or your relationship will only last as long as you're the only person they're having sex with. Because the only thing that beats consistent sex is new sex. Have sex with your prodigal spouse. I encourage it, but tread carefully. All right, you guys, that's today's episode. If this has helped you in any way, please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments, questions, concerns, whatever questions you have or comments that you would like for me to make a video on as far as standing for your marriage. Send it and let's make a video about it, if you're okay with that. If not, you can just email me and we can keep it private. But as always, you can go to my website, www.tyreewilson.com, where you can join our mobile site. You can get in touch with me so much faster than any other option out there. But if you want, you can find me on Instagram at Loc'd, LOCDPOP. You can send me a DM.